A caller. All right, here we go. It's after 7 o'clock. I'm going to call our Tuesday, November 2nd Common Council meeting to order. Melissa, will you please take the roll?
Cash.
Here.
Wendt.
Here.
Britton.
Here. Here.
Lick.
Here.
Wagner. Schmidt.
Here.
Wetzel.
Here.
Romline.
Here.
All right, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Alrighty. First item on our agenda is the minutes of the council meeting from October 19th. Anyone have any comments or questions on those? All right. Next is comments and suggestions from citizens present. We will take this one during the public hearing itself. And everyone virtual is city team. That's Jane Ellen, even though it's appearing as me. So it's Jane Ellen, Jordan, and Carol. Okay, so our next item is a public hearing. This is to consider the request of Main Street Watertown LLC and the city for a planned unit development. I will call that public hearing to order. If you'd like to comment, please come to the microphone, Mr. Board, and state your name and address.
Steve Board, 1019 Boughton. I've given a signed copy of this to the clerk just for your records. The Historic Preservation Commission met October 25th, and this is a result of that meeting. The Watertown Historic Preservation and Downtown Design Commission appreciates the opportunity to review the preliminary facade renderings provided by T-Wall Enterprises for the development of 111 South Water Street. The commission is excited to see this development moving forward in conjunction with the completion of the Watertown Public Library expansion and the town square. To ensure the design of T-Wall Enterprises development is warmly received by the citizens of Watertown and that it complements and enhances the unique architectural character of our downtown, the commission recommended the following facade adjustments for consideration at its meeting on October 20th, 2021. Use of cream city brick in place of red brick as an homage to Watertown's past. Most properties downtown were constructed with locally made Watertown brick, similar in color to cream city brick. Minimize contemporary aesthetic. The commission agrees the design more in keeping with the T-Wall Enterprises Middletown Center development is more appropriate for downtown Watertown. That concept would be more universally accepted as the replacement to the 7 buildings that were removed for the construction of the town square. At a minimum, all material on the first floor exterior should be stone or brick, basically a base, if you will, around the building. Break up the monolithic block with articulation of the facade both horizontally and vertically, not with bold colors. Eliminate murals as shown on the rendering. Consider retaining the tower element but eliminating the clock. The commission feels the clock attempts to compete with and not complement the existing historic clock towers downtown. And that's respectfully submitted by Steve Board, the commission chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Anyone else that'd like to comment on that in the public hearing? All right, yep, go for it.
Nick Patterson, T-Wall Enterprises, and I appreciate all your comments and your feedback. Look, Cream City Brick, I would agree with you that is pays homage to Watertown, and we're including that in various aspects, different pockets within the building that are reflective to locally sourced materials and brick that pay homage to the lumber and paper industry as well. And then as to the masonry on the first floor, we tried to incorporate various types of masonry and brick CMU to break up the facade so we don't have a long facade of the same material. And right now we're showing for the first floor approximately 95% masonry. So again, something we can certainly look at. And then as far as the murals, I saw that there was a comment about eliminating the murals, and no need to get tied up on the murals. We're not really tied to any certain design. We can work with the City of Watertown on various designs for the murals. So we're open to various options for that, or completely eliminating it and just doing the stone wall, what we're showing now. And then the clock tower, I'd have to run this up the chain, but we could look at different options for the clock tower. That was not our intention to take from the existing clock towers, is more to be a beacon for the town square and kind of an identifier to the downtown. That's all I have, and if you guys have any further questions, I'm available for questions.
Anyone else that would like, we can't discuss back and forth, so I'm going to stop you all before you even start to ask a question to Mr. Patterson. He can hang out, and you guys can ask him after the meeting. Otherwise, when this comes back to council, that's when we can have much more discussion. So I'm going to stop myself from discussing, though, too. You may not ask a question. I'm sorry. We really can't discuss right now. I'm not even fibbing with
Well, I
you.
was asking as a question to you, Mayor.
Oh, sure.
Just in terms of, can you answer where we're at in the process of the planning and approval of the facade?
Approval of the facade.
Have we gone into any?
We've
review and
conceptually gone before Plan Commission.
Okay.
I think it's, and site plan. You can't answer that. I'll find out for you.
Sorry.
Alex can text me and,
That's all I want.
okay. Thank you, Mr. Patterson. All right. Anyone else that'd like to comment during the public hearing? All right, we'll close the public hearing. Thank you for the comments. Let's move on to committee reports. You all have the Finance Committee from October 11, 12, 13, 18, and 25. The Plan Commission of October 11th. Public Works from October 26th. Any questions on any of those? All right. We have no old business, so then let's go to communications and recommendations. You have some committee appointments for your consideration.
Madam Mayor, I'll move for the committee appointments.
Motion by Romline. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Wendt. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, Mr. Board, please make sure Mr. Trago comes in for his oath. That's who we just approved.
I know I need him next week,
All right, so
so yes.
have him come in. All righty. We have no new business, so let's go to the accounts payable.
Madam Mayor, I move we pay all accounts payable.
Thank you. Motion by
I'll second.
Romline, second by Wetzel. Discussion on any of the accounts?
Finish for the day.
All right, Elissa.
Romline,
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Lick,
Aye.
Schmid,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
All right, let's go to reports and miscellaneous business. You have the cash and investment summary from September 10th, Park Recreation and Forestry from October 4th, the Police and Fire Commission of September 13th and 22nd, the payroll summary of October 6th to 19th, the reserve balances from September 30th, the Senior Center Advisory Board of October 20th, Tourism Commission from October 14th, Transit Commission from October 12th, and the Youth Advisory Committee from July 27th and September 20th. Anybody have any comments or questions on any of those? All right, we have no licenses, so then let's go to our first set of ordinances. The first is ordinance 21-37. This is to repeal section 228-14 through 228-17 cat licenses in our city code. This is here from Alderman Romline and Public Safety and Welfare on the second reading.
A motion to approve.
Motion by Schmid, second by Romline. Any discussion on this one? Elissa?
Schmid,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Romline,
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Lick,
Aye.
All right, next is ordinance 21-38. This is to amend section 457-11A, snow and ice removal of chapter 457, streets and sidewalks. This is here from Alderman Wetzel and Public Works on the second reading.
I'll move for 2138.
Motion by Wetzel,
I'll second.
second by Ritten. Discussion on this one?
I know I missed the last part because of other issues, but, so essentially, if I read it correctly, the only people that get exempted from this are those who register their properties with the city.
And meet the eligibility criteria.
Okay. So I'm opposed to this on its face simply on the basis we're requiring our people to register, and we haven't before, is how I interpret this. So why the drastic change? Because I got a lot of angry phone calls and a lot of issues in regards to legal action taken by previous citizens in the past over this issue.
So if I'm remembering right, this is the one where we're clearing people's snow for them. right?
Correct. Yes.
Right. So right now, there's certain parcels that are owned by, not city parcels. So parcels owned by private residents that the city has been clearing snow on. And historically, those have been decided upon, I'm going to generally say, on a handshake agreement. And in order to standardize whose private property the city is clearing snow for and whose they aren't, Public Works established an application, eligibility criteria. So what this would allow is for city staff to clean sidewalks on private property if they meet the eligibility criteria.
Which, if I understood correctly, was an annual renewable thing that wasn't just set in stone.
No, once you're approved, then it runs with the parcel until you opt out of it.
Okay, because that's not how I read it. That's why I'm clarifying as it's written, so.
Right.
Because I got a lot of angry phone calls and threats of legal action over this specific issue.
Right. And
I don't, are there people in your district that are
Yes.
getting their snow cleared?
Yeah, there's some weird, unique parcels that
Huh.
have been on the books for basically Church Street. That runs north and south underneath the
Right.
railroad bridge.
Oh, sure.
So it's all those ones, and so those were the ones who I got the most angry
Yeah.
call for. That was, they've been there since before the road went under the bridge. They were here when the road went over the tracks.
Yeah,
They've
they
been there
would
a while.
just apply, and if they meet the eligibility criteria, we would keep plowing their snow.
Yeah, so that was,
I thought you were going to be opposed for a different reason. You tricked me on that one.
well, I'm opposed for lots of reasons, but,
Oh, okay.
but that's, the biggest one is the complaints that I got from my district people, so.
So this would allow them to continue to have this as an option to them? They just have to fill out an application one time?
And their issue was, why do they have to register? They
Well,
took
because-
their registering with the city as
Yeah.
a disgrace.
Question?
Yeah, go ahead. Please use your
If I own
microphone.
property and the city comes to clean out my driveway,
Move towards your mic. We're struggling with mics
so if I
tonight.
own
so-
property and the city comes to clean out my driveway without my permission, and something happens on my property, I'll sue the hell out of them. So this gives the city indemnification for cleaning the sidewalks.
Yeah,
I'll also add that the intent at the Public Works was to include everyone that is currently being served by the city to apply and be eligible. That was the intent of all the criteria that were established. So no one that's currently being serviced by the city would not be eligible anymore. So the intent is to include everyone, including every single person that lives on Church Street that spoke at every Public Works meeting this year.
And as the mayor said, a lot of things were done by a handshake. 10 years ago, this came up, and basically, all the various criteria came up at that meeting, but nothing was ever enacted. So now we're enacting it, so we have it, so it doesn't come up in 10 years again, and we got to go through the whole thing again. So we're getting it written in stone, basically, so it's there.
Yeah,
Mayor?
just going to my constituency on this one, so.
Are they going to send letters to all these people that had been getting their
They
sidewalk
have.
stuff plowed?
Yes, everyone received a letter. They received also an application in the mail, the application in the mail as well, so they can just fill it out and turn it into the park department.
any other discussion or questions?
Not to prolong the discussion, but can we summarize what the general criteria for eligibility will be?
There's three things. I can't remember one. Okay. If you don't have, one is if you don't have access to your back sidewalk, i.e. Church Street. People have no direct access to that sidewalk without going through their yard or 2-3 foot of snow. Or two others.
I can give examples.
Go, Chris, please.
There's some along the bypass, Highway 16 bypass, along like Grinwald, and there's a dentist out there, and the salon out there. Long stretches along the bypass, those have been traditionally plowed by the city. Those will be allowed
Or by the VFW, too?
by
I
the
s-
VFW also, yes.
I see the city attorney approaching. I'm guessing
Yes.
she has it in front of her. If that's okay, Mr. Ritten.
Sure.
Go for it, Rose.
Sidewalk where the property owner cannot safely access the sidewalk from any portion of their rear property line due to an unsafe incline. Residential properties except corner lots that have sidewalks on both the front and rear of the property. Properties that have sidewalk abutting the rear of the property and that have no paved or unpaved access pathway to the rear sidewalk. Properties upon which the city will perform snow and ice removal due to operational efficiencies, availability of access and exit driveways, or other reason for the convenience of city crews.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Romline?
The only thing we probably should do is, the residents are not going to know which one of those properties the city would like to do, so the city should really contact them and say, we would like to clean your snow, because it's going to make our job easier.
I think where that's relevant, we're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions or comments on this one?
So when the letters were initially sent out, so the backlash I got was they felt they themselves were having to register, and it wasn't clear that the property is, once it's registered, it stays, and it's that specific physical parcel, not the actual physical owner. So that's a lot of the backlash I was getting, because the owners felt like they were having to register like criminals, and that didn't set well with any of them. So I think that was the confusion and the misinterpretation of what was being sent out or what was being proposed, which is why I caught so much heat on it, because if that's not the intent, that's not how it was interpreted. So I'm just, speaking on behalf of the flack I got on this one.
A number of people, I may say, who lived around the Milwaukee Street Railroad Viaduct were here at the meetings, and they were addressed personally after the meeting, told what was going on, and everyone walked away realizing it was good, if I can say it so subjectively.
Any other discussion? All right, Elissa?
Wetzel,
Aye.
Brumline,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Lick,
Aye.
Schmidt,
No?
All right, let's go then to the next, which is ordinance 21-39. This is to amend section 220-3 for an H, parent 3, classes of licenses and fees in chapter 220 of our alcohol, beverages, and other beverages section of the code. This is here from me and the licensing board on the second reading.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Wendt, second by Bartz. Any questions or comments?
So is there a driving factor going from 3 years to 12 months?
This was conflicting with another section of our code that was 12 months.
Okay, so it's more of an administrative change, not anything else, really?
Well, the other section could have arguably been changed probably to 3 years, but instead we just changed both to 12.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? Elissa?
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Lick,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Brumline,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
All right, next is ordinance 21-40. This is to amend section 136-5 through 136-9 of our city code. This is here from me on the second reading.
I'll move to approve ordinance 2140.
Motion by Written, second by Licht. Questions or comments?
Just administrative title change?
Yes.
Okay.
So this one and the next one are just to reflect the finance director
Split.
clerk split. Yep.
Okay.
You got it. Questions or comments? Addition to that? Elissa?
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Lick,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Yes.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Brumline,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
All right, next is ordinance 21-41. This is to amend section 7-1 of our city departments of the general code. This is here for me on the second reading.
I'll move to approve ordinance 2141.
Motion by Written, second by Licht. Discussion or comment on this one? Elissa?
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Lick,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Brumline,
Aye.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
All right, next is ordinance 21-42. This is to amend section 228-6 definitions of chapter 228 animals. Article 3, the keeping of domestic animals. This is here from Alderman Romline and Public Safety on the first reading.
Madam Mayor, I move for 2142.
Thank you. Motion
Second.
by Romline, second by Went. Discussion, comments? Mr. Pesh.
Just a quick question, Mayor. As it relates to the quantity, that's not addressed in this ordinance, right?
I'm going to be honest, I've been completely on the outside of this one. So Carol? I can.
Yes.
Go ahead, Carol.
So the only changes that are being made to this ordinance are the definition of animals so that it's more specific, but the rest of the ordinance does pertain to the quantity of animals. So it's 4 dogs, 5 cats, and a total of 10 animals.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments?
And just the obvious exception is going to be like fish and bees, because those are numerations of 10 pretty easy.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't see them listed here.
They're not. That's why I asked.
Bees are excluded.
Yeah.
Any other comments or questions? Yulissa?
Bromline,
All right.
Cash,
Aye.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Licht,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Next is ordinance 21-43. This is to repeal and recreate Chapter 550 of the zoning code, Article 12, Signs and Projections of the City of Watertown Code. This is here for me and the Plan Commission on the first reading.
Madam Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Motion by Wetzel. Second by Bartz.
I have a couple questions.
Yes.
Okay, just generally, kind of globally, is this a revision of a current ordinance, or is this all new?
Revision of a current.
Okay, so follow-up, what are we targeting that is a problem?
So there, for me, is Jacob, are you on?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, and I'll come to you in just a second, and Rose as well. So for me, we had 2 things we really needed to hammer out. There was a Supreme Court decision from 2015 that this code was not compliant with, so we needed to update that. And then I felt, and I'm sure others generally too, that it was pretty restrictive and pretty specific. So this revision is opening it up to, in my comments I provided before, just less regulatory oversight. So those were the 2 kind of overarching things that I went into it with. Jacob and Rose can add if there's anything additional that we're looking to address with this update.
The rule.
I think we were just trying to get to, go ahead, Rose.
I was going to say the same. The rule the Supreme Court has set on signs is if you need to read the sign to determine if the sign is allowed under your sign code, that's unconstitutional because it's based on the content of the sign. So there's a couple of cases that are making their way through. One is cert has been granted at the Supreme Court, so you might see us tweak this another time. But basically, we can't regulate speech. It's unconstitutional. So if you have to read the sign to determine if it's allowed, because we had a lot of signs that said like rummage sale signs are allowed for X number of days, or election signs are allowed for X number of days. The only way you determine that is if you read the sign. Well, that's speech. Is that what you were going to say, Jacob?
Yes.
Okay, well, thank you. I have a couple follow-up questions. I appreciate the move towards less restriction, certainly. I did read a little, by the way, this is like really long.
Yeah.
There's a lot of details in this, and charts and everything, but, and I'm sure I might not even be reading it exactly right, so, but I need to know how to vote. So it has a stipulation about First Amendment, freedom of speech and religion, et cetera, in there. But it also seems to say that you can only have 1 yard sign in your yard. In another place, especially on the chart, on whatever page, it doesn't have a page number, but on the temporary sign group. So does that really mean you can only have 1 campaign sign in your yard, or 1 church sign and no campaign signs? Or is that, can somebody clarify that? And then I have a question, similar question about the, what's called freestanding signs. Again, they're.
Okay.
Jacob knows. Go for it, Jacob.
Sorry, go ahead. Oh.
That's you.
So for the yard signs, you're allowed 3 types, and you can have all 3 types at the same time, and there is no time limit on them. So you can have the framed ones, I think the stake type, and then the A-frame or the armed type. So you could technically have 3 types of
signs, but you can have one each of that type of sign in your yard at any given time throughout the year.
So to summarize, Jacob, it is a little hard to hear you. I think, did you say you can have 3? 'Cause
3 signs, one of each type. So the frame sign, the stake sign, and then the arm sign.
Right, well, there are 3 listed on that chart on that one page, but I would say every campaign sign, almost, and every church sign that I see all around town are on what I think is a frame sign. Metal,
Okay.
metal.
So you do one.
So I don't know, it seems like a one-size-fit-all here is a little bit too restrictive in certain categories. I'll just throw one other thing out to you. In that chart where it talks about freestanding signs, permanent freestanding signs, it also says 1 per site. And I'm not sure what is the definition of site. For example,
It's 1 parcel.
if you have a 60-foot frontage on a road, you get 1 sign, and if you have a half a mile frontage on a road, you get 1 sign? Is that what that is saying?
Yes.
Correct.
Is there a grandfather clause for existing
There is
signs?
a non-conforming section.
You said there's a non-conforming section, which would mean, the short answer to that question is yes.
That seems also restrictive to me. Like, if you have a business, just give you an example, Pepsi that is on 2 different roads with 2 different entrances, you're saying that they can't have a sign at one of their entrances. If you have a half a mile frontage on Main Street with multiple entrances, you're saying you can't have a sign. And in some cases, I think it's appropriate. So I would say it's a bit restrictive in those categories. I understand the reason for it. Too many signs is ugly. So I had those questions. Thank you.
Do you want, well, Jacob could speak to it, but I can speak, Jacob, and you can correct me. Essentially, what he meant by non-conforming is, per zoning code, if it's already in place, you can basically maintain that sign. You can't improve upon it any more than what, you can maintain it, you can paint it, you can keep it what it is, the status quo. But if you create a new sign, that's when this kicks in, if that helps to explain what non-conforming is. And Jacob, can you correct me if I'm wrong on that?
You're correct.
Okay. You can, sorry, you didn't ask me.
No, I was going to ask you to say what you're about to say anyway.
You can adjust the numbers. You just can't, I would encourage you not to change the definitions. If you want to increase the numbers of signs allowed per parcel, you can do that. That's within your purview as the legislative body. I would encourage you not to go back to the speech-based sign regulation, because I just would encourage you not to go back to speech-based regulation.
So if what you would, as an example, on temporary miscellaneous signs, it says 1 per site. If you think 3 is reasonable, you can amend that right, at this meeting on the floor to have it say 3, if that makes you more comfortable. I can tell you, we spent a lot of time going through this. It's very in-depth and it's very detailed. We added these tables to try to make it easier to comprehend what the text says, but it's very possible, something like what you just pointed out, should be considered.
It will be a problem in a big election year when a lot of people like to put 2 different names
Yeah.
in their front yard. They're
Yep.
on the metal stakes, all of them. So they couldn't do one of them.
So is that a temporary board and banner sign?
It's a step stake. Those are normally step stakes.
It is the very last, I believe it's what they call a
Yard sign category. Okay.
It's a frame sign.
Frame sign.
Sign permit not required, 1 per site, not 1 per tenant. No.
So what I thought I heard was you can have 3, but they have to be a different version. You have to have a stake
Yes.
sign, a frame sign, and a post sign,
Yeah.
which is,
Yeah.
well, personally, I think it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
I'm with you.
it's not going to work. exactly
I
really
can see
well.
in this, if I may speak, I can see in the springtime how many, there's 4 Lutheran churches that have Jesus Lives sign, the stake sign, or the frame sign, and next to it, they want to have an alderman sign, or a mayor sign, or a presidential sign, the same thing.
They'd have to choose.
They can't, yeah.
So what number are we comfortable with adjusting to? 3, 4, 5?
3 signs, period.
I'm gonna out us a little bit. There are, thousands of residences and 1 part-time code enforcement officer. So if you're waffling between 3 and 4, I don't think we're gonna be
I'm all for unlimited.
out there counting signs.
And that's mainly because the reality is most residents aren't going to have any. You can drive through town even on a heavy election year or heavy event cycle, and there's maybe less than 10%, 20% of the population will even have yard signs to start with. And the few half a dozen, 2 dozen houses in the entire city that are going to have more than 2, 3, 4, or 5 signs, let them. I don't care. And I have some of those in my district. It doesn't faze me. It doesn't affect my property value. The neighbor doesn't like it, well, then they can, that's just that's the nature of free speech and signs to say whatever thing we want to say. So from the temporary standpoint for private property, I would be comfortable with no limit. And I do understand at some point that's going to look tacky, but that's when you learn how to be a good neighbor. And then some of the permanent ones, you're only allowed, again, Jacob, correct me if I understand this, you're allowed 1 of each type if you're a permanent sign structure as well? If I'm reading the permanent type properly?
You can, I don't have it in front of me. I'm in a car here in the truck. I can't answer that.
I can answer that, Jacob. One of them is up to 3. So permanent miscellaneous sign group, it says up to 3 per designated historic property for plaques and permanent plat signs. But just perusing through the table, it looks like limit 1. There's one that says limit 2, limit 1, limit 1, limit 1. Yeah, most of them look like a 1.
Yeah, 1 of each specific type. So in theory, business could have 4 different signs.
So Jacob, I think that's the question that you can answer though, is for permanent sign, for example, freestanding signs, it says monument sign, dual post sign, and pylon sign. Is it to be interpreted that that means limit? Yeah, it does. Limit of 1 freestanding sign for each site. Is that 1 freestanding sign that's a monument and 1 that's a dual post sign and 1 that's a pylon sign, or just 1 in that category?
I read that as 1 in that category.
So do I.
Yes, 1 in that category.
So then it would seem like, well, I can't debate, so.
Then we're back to like some of those examples where businesses have to choose which one, if they have multiple entrances, and which type of category sign they want to use. Instead of letting them have uniform signage on their property, then they have to choose multiple signage to have 1 of each of those 4 categories. And historical preservation, I'm not going to touch that one because that's a different animal entirely, but I'm curious why we settled on just 1.
I can answer that a little bit.
Oh, okay.
I know Jacob is on the phone.
Jacob's driving to a conference.
Yeah, he has
Asked him to hop on.
It's
so.
not a, it's not a pleasure call or whatever. So we got actually a lot of complaints from citizens this last election cycle regarding signage. So that's really, and per my recommendation, and I can say this, our old sign code was unenforceable. So, because if we enforced it, we would have been violating the Constitution, right? So we had not enforced the sign code whatsoever the last election cycle. And that's kind of why this needed to be updated. 'Cause so once this is passed, there's an enforceable sign code because it's no longer based on speech. So there were complaints that came through. And I think, I mean, to your point, Alderperson Schmidt, I mean, there's your side, which is unlimited, and some people would feel that way, but some people were calling in to multiple departments. I think the PD got called, zoning got called, building inspection got called, I got called, mayor's office got called. But, I mean, so there's 2 sides. If you want to increase the numbers, that's fine, or if you want to direct, staff to come back, I think that we can do that too, if you're not comfortable making the amendments today, because I sense some hesitation from the council at this point, because it's a complicated document.
That's why I'm hesitating. A document this complicated, I don't like to amend on the fly, personally. I would say that there's a whole other issue besides yard signs. I don't know how someone's freedom of speech isn't inhibited by saying they can only have one type of sign in their yard, but that's the first. But the second one is the business question I asked, where you have a very large company or business that extends way past like 20 residences or more, literally half a mile in one case that I know of, where the signs are separated by probably 400 yards at two major entrances, and we're saying they can't sign their entrances by this ordinance. I know why you wouldn't want to do it in most businesses, because they don't need multiple signs. But in some cases, you might. But this is restrictive in that area.
I can speak to that, I can support that. You know, if any of you have driven by Washington Park and you go to the south end of Washington Park, you know, there's a big manufacturer right there, and he has to route his trucks to get there, and he needs a sign for every one of those. You know.
So we have a couple of options. I'm hearing two topics. We can amend on the floor. We can vote the way it is. Or we can take a motion to table and bring it back with the two things addressed that we're talking about. One second, please. But I'm going to need you guys to send me then, if you choose that route, what you want it, what you're comfortable with it reading. Mr. Schmidt.
I'd make the motion to table it so we can get time to make the recommended corrections the way we want to have them worded.
So do you want a date, I presume? She loves a date certain.
No, she loves a date certain.
She's a good attorney.
Due December, just to make sure I have enough
December
time with the
council meeting?
upcoming, with the other businesses we have coming up between now and then we have to take care of.
Is that fine? The first meeting of December? The city attorney won't be here to be able to speak to that. So, just so you know. What is the first one? Does anyone look?
I believe it's the 7th.
7.
Okay, so December 7th?
I'm
Is there
okay
a
with that.
second to that? Romline? All right. I believe those are not debatable.
Point of clarification for
Sure.
staff. Are you looking for, because some municipalities do like frontage square footage, which is ridiculously complicated, but we could look towards that. Again, we have to deal with numbers.
I agree. I think we're going to have some type of guidance from you guys on, if it's over 200 yards, there can be another, we don't want these stacked on top of each other. So I think the feedback you submit needs to include something similar to that, so that we have some capacity to gauge compliance or not. Mr. Powell,
Can I just ask one question as it relates to the feedback from the community?
technically, no.
What was the number one concern or complaint about the signs?
I'll take that up after. We really, and I realize I joke with you a lot about this, but we have a motion and a second on a non-debatable
Well, I didn't, yeah,
topic.
okay, I didn't know if we
So-
could discuss, okay.
We can, they will talk to you after.
So be it.
So I'm going to take a vote, because we have a motion and a second to table. If I'm remembering right without pulling up my cheat sheet, I don't think we get to debate those. No,
It's fine.
okay.
It's fine.
All those in favor of tabling until December 7th, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, we'll watch for your feedback. So please send it to Jacob, and Tom, or Ms. Fresh, I apologize, but please,
No, I just,
they'll provide it to you.
for the benefit of the forum, I get it, yeah, thank you.
If anyone else is interested in a summary of the complaints, let us know, and we can kick something out to everybody, if that's desired.
I mean, that should be the primary motivation for the,
Yeah, I think our primary motivation was to be compliant with the law and to make it less restrictive, because it was
Right.
overly restrictive before. Okay, let's move on. Our next then is ordinance 21-44. This is to amend Chapter 457, Streets and Sidewalks, through the repeal of Section 457-10, Daily Notice Signs. This is here from Alderman Wetzel and Public Works on the first reading.
It's just a housekeeping sign, right?
Let's take a motion.
This should be tabled.
Excuse
The
me?
previous one was.
Yep. This one was contingent on the first one passing.
Oh, thank you. 21-44 is, okay. So I need a motion to table.
I'll make the motion.
Motion, I saw Wetzel first.
Okay.
So we'll table to December 7th with a second by Schmidt. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay. I think that's the only one that goes with that. All right, let's go to ordinance 21-45. This is to amend Chapter 52, Article 1, Districts and Wards of our City Watertown General Code. This is here for me on the first reading.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Went, second by Licht. Questions, comments? Jacob, I'm going to mute you now. I feel your, anybody have any questions or comments on that? This is I think the last step for us, unless we get feedback for redistricting? Okay.
Just a question, Madam Mayor.
Sure.
Was it the intent of it to carve out 80% of the people that signed up for when I signed up to be an alderman?
Oh, I can assure you that was not. If it's any consolation, this is such a just very intense and detailed process that I can tell you there wasn't one time that even came up, that we even looked to see where those people lived. No, compliance with this is incredibly strenuous, so. Anybody else? Yeah, Mr. Rinn.
This isn't necessarily the final say. The county has final say if they approve our recommendation, correct?
So this is us setting aldermanic districts based on the wards. If for some reason they would not approve the wards, I presume we'd have to come back and adjust this because the aldermanic districts are made up of the wards. But I checked in with the county and said, do we need anyone to attend? And they felt like we didn't. And Dodge County gave Elissa a verbal, like, blessing, if you will, of what was submitted. So I think we should be okay.
All right.
But now we probably won't be, that I said that out loud. Anybody else? Do you want the roll? Go ahead. Went,
Aye.
Aye.
Barth,
Aye.
Lick,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Romline,
Aye.
Pat.
Aye.
Okay, let's go on to resolutions. We have a full page. Some will be voiced and some will take the roll. The first is 9293. This is a resolution to enter into a mutual aid and ALS intercept agreement with Lake Mills Fire Department. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by
I'll
Schmidt.
second.
Second by Wetzel. Questions? Are you fine? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Awesome. Next is Exhibit 9294. This is a resolution to review and approve the EMS Clinical and Field Internship Affiliation Agreement. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Lick, second by Bartz. Anybody have questions on this one? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Next is Exhibit 9295. This is a resolution to review and approve the trunked radio affiliate user agreement with Waukesha County. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
Madam Mayor, I move for 9295.
Perfect. Motion by Remline,
I'll second.
second by Schmidt. Any questions? All right. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Next is Exhibit 9296. This is a resolution to authorize a joint powers agreement for the County 911 emergency system with Dodge County. This is here from me.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Went,
Second.
second by Licht. Questions on this one? We do this every year. We're going to do the exact same thing for Jefferson County in a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, next is Exhibit 9297. This is a resolution to authorize a joint powers agreement for the 911 system with Jefferson County. This is here from me.
Make that motion.
Motion by Schmidt, second by Remline. Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All right, next is Exhibit 9298. This is a resolution to approve the collective bargaining agreement with the Labor Association of Wisconsin for our police department, or excuse me, for our police officers. This is here from me and the Finance Committee.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Went, second by Written. Questions, comments?
Any major changes from last time? Or pretty much-
There's a handful of changes. Chief, do you feel equipped to summarize those?
Yeah, I brought my notes just to, if I can touch on a few things. Just a few things on payouts for like comp time and flex time were addressed. Adding in Veterans Day as a holiday that the rest of the city was getting, the police department now, the union would get that.
Okay.
Because that wasn't in their contract. Adding Patriots Day in as a holiday, but in lieu of a sick day, essentially. So they're not getting an extra sick day that other city employees are getting. So the fire department union and the police department union are now getting Patriots Day as a day holiday off.
What's Patriots Day?
9/11.
9/11.
Okay, I just making sure. Okay.
Yep, 9/11. And then some changes in vacation for longer-term employees. We've been here over 22 years to start adding some little extra vacation time at the end of your career. A pay raise for 2022 and 2023. And then, I feel like I'm forgetting one more thing that might have been, maybe that was really about it.
And that's a standard increase of whatever, 2-3% or whatever.
It's
the annual-
2-2. It's a
2-2.
2-2
Standard
split,
rate.
so 4% overall left 3% to the
Okay.
budget. Oh, and we lowered, our top pay officers used to have to be here 10 years to get top pay. We lowered that from 10 years to 8 years, so that enticed people to stay here.
Okay, so we don't have any retention, so we're
Right.
increasing
Kind of
retention.
Doing some things at the front end to increase people staying, doing some things at the back end for the people who have been here for a long time.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Elissa?
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Licht,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Romline,
Aye.
Cash,
All right, next is Exhibit 9299. This is a resolution to create Fund 23 for TID8 and to amend the 2021 budget. This is here from me and Finance.
I'll move to approve Exhibit 9299.
Motion by Ritten, second by Bartz. This is already in the city budget. We just have to do the housekeeping of formally creating the fund. Any other comments or questions? And I presume we need to take the roll. Go for it.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Licht, Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Romline,
Aye.
Cash, Went,
Aye.
All right, next is Exhibit 9300. This is a resolution to create Fund 25 for the fiber optic network and to amend our 2021 budget. This is here for me and the Finance Committee.
Madam Mayor, I move for 9,300.
Thank you. Motion by Romline,
I'll-
second by Ritten. Comments or questions? Same story here. Elissa?
Romline,
Aye.
Cash, Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Licht,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Next is Exhibit 9301. This is a resolution to authorize the write-off of uncollectible delinquent account receivable invoices. This is here for me and the Finance Committee.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Went, second by Licht. Discussion?
We're still going after them though, right?
This would end the going after them.
Okay.
This would be writing these off. They have gone through the process of attempting to collect and have not been successful. Anyone else? You want the roll? Go for it.
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
Licht,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Romline,
Aye.
Cash,
Next is Exhibit 9302. This is a resolution to authorize the write-off of uncollectible delinquent personal property taxes. This is here for me and the Finance Committee.
Move on 9302.
Thank you. Motion by Licht, second by Bartz. Any discussion on this one? Elissa?
Licht,
Aye.
Schmidt,
Aye.
Wetzel,
Aye.
Romline,
Aye.
Cash, Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz,
Aye.
All right. Next is Exhibit 9303. This is a resolution to authorize the write-off of uncashed checks. This is here for me and Finance.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Motion by Went,
I'll second.
second by Ritten. Questions or discussion on this one? Elissa?
Went,
Aye.
Britton,
Aye.
Bartz.
Aye.
Licht.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Wetzel.
Aye.
Bromline.
Aye.
Cash.
Next is Exhibit 9304. This is a resolution to appoint Carrie Varuda as the interim clerk. This is here for me and the Finance Committee.
I'll move to approve Exhibit 9304.
Motion by Ritten, second by Went. Discussion on this one?
Just clarify, she's already in the system, just a positional lateral move, essentially?
No, she, that's the next one. So Carrie is a former clerk for the city of Elkhorn. So with Elissa's departure, we solicited a few different ways to fill the vacancy in the interim. One was a company, one was through someone who formerly was a clerk. So Carrie was a clerk. She took a gubernatorial appointment that ended. So she's been working for her family's business. And there's some statutory duties we need to make sure someone's checking the box on.
Okay.
So Carrie's going to come help us in the interim for a couple days a week.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Are you fine with the voice? We can take a roll if you're on the fence. Okay, go for it.
Ritten.
Aye.
Bartz.
Aye.
Licht.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Wetzel.
Aye.
Bromline.
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Went.
Aye.
Next is Exhibit 9305. This is a resolution to appoint Sherry Larson as our interim treasurer. This is here for me and Finance. Motion by Bartz, second by Licht. Comments or questions?
Same thing.
Same concept, different position, but this one we're doing internally. This is Sherry right here. Sherry's already in our accounting clerk, and will be filling some of the portions of the job in the interim. So for Sherry's, we use the out-of-class pay policy in the city handbook. Any other questions? Elissa?
Bartz.
Aye.
Licht.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Wetzel.
Aye.
Bromline.
Aye.
Cash.
Aye.
Went.
Aye.
Ritten.
Aye.
All right, next is comments and suggestions from citizens present. Seeing none in the room, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion by Went,
I'll second.
second by Schmidt. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Anybody else wondering where Cash has been the last, half of the meeting on making motions? I'm like,
Well, I get my hands slapped every time.
I'm used to just going this far, and I had to really crank my neck around to get to everything.
Sure.
I need a handler.
Where do you hide in this?
I have to dial in
Yes.
the amount of crap I get.
You're down there?
That's what I
I don't like to monopolize.
This is behind the wall.